You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of
Everyone,
America.
please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Thank you. Next item,
Invocation.
Commissioner Garza, come on up, please, sir.
Please join me in prayer or reflection. As we gather today, Almighty and everlasting Creator, today as members of the Wayne County Commission, we humbly ask for your guidance and wisdom in our deliberations and decisions. Grant us the insight to serve our communities with integrity, compassion, and fairness. May we be mindful of the needs of those whom we represent, especially the most vulnerable and marginalized among us. Guide us to work together, respecting diverse perspectives, the unique need of all of our communities, and seeking common ground for the greater good of our county. Bless our efforts with clarity of thought, persistence of purpose, and the commitment to justice. May our actions reflect your eternal principles of truth, equity, and compassion. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Next item, please.
Reading, correcting, and approval of the journal.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun.
Move for approval. Support.
Been moved and supported. Are there any corrections or changes to the journal? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Report from the chair.
Thank you. Today I have the pleasure of welcoming someone who is friends to many of us, but first time here in our chambers, Minister Troy Muhammad. He has an invitation for commissioners, and we're so happy to see him today. Minister Troy Muhammad is with the Nation of Islam, and he has a special invitation for all commissioners. Minister Muhammad. Turn on this microphone. Hold on one second, sir. There you go. You're good.
Got it?
Yep, you're good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank all of you. I do know quite a few of you, and I appreciate this opportunity to address you. You know, I was just listening to some of the words: compassion, justice, working together to make Wayne County a better place. And I've seen that in all of you who I know personally, and I've seen it in you. So I want to invite all of you to an event that we're having next weekend, actually, February 25th. It'll run between February 23rd and 25th. It's called Savior's Day, where we bring in at least 20,000 people to the city of Detroit, who will be going to restaurants in Detroit and, you know, using transportation in Detroit, you know, shopping in Detroit, filling the hotels in Detroit. It's Savior's Day. It's a weekend for our families, for everyone to come in. And that weekend will be ended on February 25th by an address by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And as we know, it's a lot of things going on in the world today, a lot of conflict going on in the world. And we want to hear a special word to try to help bring us all together. So I want to invite all of us out to that event. I want to invite Wayne County out to that event, because I'm a child who was born and raised in Wayne County, and I benefit from all of the work that you all do. So I would love to invite the commissioners, but also the entire Wayne County to come out and support this event. It's a ticketed event, but we are working to make sure everybody has access to the weekend, which is a family-filled weekend. But again, the most important part of that weekend is the address on Sunday, February 25th. If anyone wants to get more information, you'll call the number 313-283-7245. That's 313-283-7245. Would love to have you and host you. And I would love our people from all over the country to get to meet our commissioners, you know. So thank you very much for this time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Minister. Thank you for the work that you do in our community in Wayne County and in Detroit and throughout the country. And to bring 20,000 people here to Detroit and Wayne County is going to be amazing. So we want to make sure that we show you all a good time and that everyone has a wonderful time celebrating joy and peace and justice. So thank you again. And I do have the invitation, so I will send it to all commissioners and let them have all the details. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Next item, please.
Unfinished business, there is none listed. We are moving to page 2 of the agenda, offering of all petitions, ordinances, resolutions, and presentations. There are 3 items listed. Item number 1 is a resolution by Commissioners Bell and Clemente recognizing February 2024 as American Heart Month.
Hey, Commissioner Clemente.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for wearing red today. Of course, our hearts are very vital to us and we need to take care of them. So having Wayne County wear red in support of Heart Month is super important to me. And we just need to remind ourselves to sometimes give ourselves some time for ourselves. Doing exercise, eating right will take care of our body and our mind. So I'm really appreciative to be able to introduce this with you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And before we take a motion, and it'll be moved by Commissioner Clemente and supported by Commissioner Kinlock, I'd like to ask, I'm getting it right now, Lynn Boyles Dukes, if she would come here. She's with the Michigan Heart Association, and she has some information she's going to share with us about the importance of heart health. Ms. Dukes.
Thank you and happy birthday.
Thank you.
And good morning to you all. And thank you. I am so extremely blessed to have had you all be in already the works of this when I called to say that we would like to partner with you to do a resolution and a Go Red Day. So great minds think alike. I am Aylin Bowles Dukes. I am the Community Advocacy Director for American Heart Association, and I am principally tasked with a couple of initiatives, one being Complete Streets. All of you should be getting that information. You also received information on TCPR, which is telecommunicator CPR. All of these particular initiatives help certainly with our heart health, as well as put a cap on it for collaborating physicians agreements with nurse practitioners and with working on our Health Equity Action Plan and CERPS, which is Cardiac Emergency Response Plans. However, today I am here to celebrate with you on American Heart Month and our 100th birthday at American Heart Association. So we're happy to be here with you and let you know that we actually have 50,000 individuals in our country each year that experience out of hospital cardiac arrest. And only 46% of those individuals receive bystander CPR. Now, could a life be saved more effectively and efficiently with CPR? Absolutely. And we know that those that don't receive CPR, only 1 out of 10 survive that episode. So that should drill home the importance of the CPR, which my invitation to you today is to become a part of our nation of lifesavers, which simply means that you are willing to, 1, call 911 if you have someone that is having an episode or incident. And 2, clasp your hands together, center of the chest, push hard and fast to the beat of Staying Alive. How many of you are from my era with ha, 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 staying alive, staying alive? Doing that can save a life at a rate that is absolutely unbelievable. And you can be that bystander who contributes to someone being able to live a longer, healthier life. So thank you again for your partnership. Thank you for having us today. And I have left you with a Go Red for Women red dress pin. So please enjoy those. My card should have been distributed as well. If you need any further information, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dukes, for coming down and giving us that great information and the pin and what we have here. We will share this with our constituents and just understanding the awareness of Heart Month is so important with the stats that you gave us. We all need to know CPR and apply that if we should see someone who's going through an episode. So thank you so much for coming with us. We will be taking a picture after full board meeting with our red on, with all the commissioners who are here today. So again, thank you so much for coming to speak to us today. We have a motion by Commissioner Clemente, and seconded by Commissioner Kinlock. After we vote, I will open the board up for co-sponsors. Any discussion on the resolution? Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Okay,
Motion carries.
okay, let me know when the board is ready for co-sponsors. Okay, is it open for co-sponsor?
The board is now open for co-sponsors.
All right, thank you so much. If you'd like to co-sponsor the resolution, please vote.
Co-sponsors duly noted.
All right, thank you all so much. And remember, Heart Awareness is the month of February. We have a few days left in the month, but we should be aware of the importance of this throughout the year. As Commissioner Clemente said, exercising, eating right, to make sure that you are keeping your heart healthy. So thank you. Next item.
Item number 2 is a presentation by Commissioner Daub on the Seals of Michigan Counties poster.
Okay, come on up, Commissioner Daub, who will soon be President Daub of the Michigan Association of Counties. But right now, she's Commissioner Daub. Come on, Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As the Vice President of the Board of Michigan Association of Counties, I am pleased to present this poster of the seals of the counties of Michigan. And this is part of the 125th anniversary of Michigan Association of Counties. So it's pretty big, but I'm going to hold it up so everyone can see.
Ours?
This
We
is
can-
ours.
Oh, wow.
And
So
we need
everybody gonna
to-
take a picture? Anybody? Okay, come on, Brianna, let's take a picture. The 83 counties in Wayne County, and this is the seal for each of the
Each of the
counties.
counties in Michigan.
So we will put this probably up on the 7th floor. So thank you so much. Thank you for presenting that for us. That is a special treat to have each seal of each of the 83 counties, and we'll proudly display that on the 7th floor. So thank you, Vice Chair of the Michigan Association of Counties, Daub. Looking forward to calling you president at the end of the year. All right, thank you so much. Next item, please.
Item number 3 is a presentation on the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network Annual Report by President and CEO Eric Doa. And this
Okay,
is
so-
also a receive and file item.
Okay, thank you. We receive and file as well. Thank you. Every year we have a presentation by DWIN as to what they've been doing, what their plans are to further assist those with behavioral health in our county. So, Mr. Doa, I will turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A very good morning to you. A very good morning to this body. A good morning to the county executive, of course, the deputy county executive, my good friend and partner, Dr. Al Saeed. Apparently, Madam Chair, I drew the short straw today. So Brooke Blackwell, who runs my life at work and everywhere else, my 8-year-old runs my life at home. So I'm presenting this morning. Thank you so very much. Madam Chair, it's always a pleasure to work with you, whether we're working with our law enforcement partners or we're working with our judiciary. You've always been an excellent partner and support of DWIN. This particular fiscal year, our last particular fiscal year, we served well over 123,000 people. 5 years ago, our numbers were around 75,000. So that just tells you how much behavioral health has been recognized and certainly has grown in terms of services. I always put forth that we don't want to be the best kept secret. I think that is for that great Italian restaurant. Instead, we want to be a resource for our community, and we continue to be so, partly because of the work that the county does and the state, but most importantly, because of the vulnerable people that are out here who we must provide services for, and we welcome that responsibility. So if I'm going to follow the two presenters before me, I will be as brief as I possibly can. Sometimes the Baptist preacher in me tries to come out, but I'm going to be brief. Okay. So if I'm not sure who's conducting the slides there, but I'm going to move on to the next slide if you don't mind. So just in terms of the community itself, the 75,000 there, that's been some time ago. And, we've now moved that number up certainly there. Madam Chair, I'm sure the annual report is something that you and your colleagues have, and we've made that available. I'm just going to speed through. So if you want to go to the next slide, we can make that up. Now, Ms. Blackwell, I'm not sure which PowerPoint this one is. It may not be the one that we presented, but it's okay. It's okay. I would just do this impromptu thing that I tend to do. So just in terms of men and women served, we serve well over, as I said, 123,000 folks just in terms of children alone. As you think about our substance use disorder program, 10,000 there, 15,000 kids in total. Our services are all over Wayne County. You can name it, whether you're talking about Grosseille, our downriver community up here in Detroit. We provide services throughout the county. One of the things that I really wanted to highlight, though, is our mobile services. So this was something that we launched just last year in December. When it comes to mobile services, I'm talking about meeting people where they are. Oftentimes we build these great buildings and the expectation is that folks show up to those buildings to receive services, but transportation, may not be accessible to everyone. And so now with mobile services, we're actually going out in the community to meet people where they are to provide behavioral health services. And this is a 24/7, program that is run. Thank you so very much to my good friend, Commissioner Ken Locke, and of course our board, who just play a tremendous role in making sure that these services we provide to our communities. There's the PowerPoint. Thank you so much. So that's just some of the stats there that I spoke of earlier. In terms of mobile services, you're talking about crisis services here. Again, serving men, women, and children, children ages 5 and up, and for adults as well. One of the hallmark of the mobile services program is just how you're talking about providing services to any and everybody. Any and everybody. We want to be that resource for the community. Our call number there is that 241-4949 phone number. And this is just a breakdown of the communities in the county that we provide services, and the numbers there represent the number of persons served or persons who have received services last fiscal term. If you want to move to the next slide, please. Thank you so much. And that's the mobile service that I commented on earlier. Our next two slides is going to focus on our building at 707. I believe it's the next one coming up after that one. See, we got this do-si-do going on just right now. Thank you so much. So 707 used to be our administrative building. This is now going to become our crisis care center. And you're talking about a 32-bed facility there that will be able to provide those services as I spoke about earlier. This is a tremendous feat for our community, for our county, for the folks we serve, from the standpoint that now, instead of our emergency departments, our jails being crowded with folks who really need services, as opposed to going to jail or perhaps even going to the emergency departments, they can come over here and receive services. We also have a peer-run program as well, and you're talking about folks who we provided services to now be able to serve and help others who are in need. And The next slide is going to be our administrative building. This is the Utley Library, and I had to make sure I pronounced that T. If I didn't, it would sound like I'm saying the ugly library. So this is going to be our new administrative building. Again, thanks to the awesome work by our board in order for us to get this done. This is on Woodward. I mean, as you can imagine how that particular strip of land is just becoming so amazing. So both of these buildings are scheduled to open next month, and I am excited about that. Commissioner Kinloch continues to hold my feet to the fire there, so I cannot wait for us to welcome the community into this particular space. And the next few slides just goes through just the outlay of the actual administrative building there. The next slide, though, you're talking about the coming attraction, as we like to call it. So at 7 Mile and Southfield, we'll be building our larger integrated services there. It's going to consist of a 52-bed facility there, but it's also going to provide primary care, behavior care, of course, vision and dental services will also be offered there as well. And this is in support not only of this county, but our tri-county partners indeed. And with that, Madam Chair, I believe I kept it as brief as I possibly could, and just so that if there are any questions, I'm prepared to answer. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Eric, for that presentation. If you could let me know, what are the dates that the 3 new facilities are scheduled to open?
Yeah, Madam Chair, tentatively, we're looking at March 8th as our ribbon cutting date there, and I'm going to look back at Brooke. Hopefully, I got that right.
And that's for the administration building?
Yes, as well as the crisis building too.
On Milwaukee?
Yes.
Okay, and then the one on 7 Mile?
That's going to be a while for us to do that groundbreaking there. We're hoping that that will happen sometime in the spring, Brooke, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. Man, talk about getting my homework right here.
Okay. No, I think it's so important, and thank you and congratulations for getting these online, that we have these crisis centers. As you stated, going to the emergency room should not be where someone goes if they're having a mental emergency. So can't wait for these to open and how they're going to serve our community. And then you also said there was one proposed downriver.
Yes, in our downriver community, it's going to be a 25-bed facility there, you know, and we cannot wait for that to happen. And so in the spring, we're going to groundbreak on that property as well.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Any questions from commissioners to Mr. Doa? Any questions from commissioners? Well, we have this wonderful report, which we will go through, and then after we go through it, there may be some questions that come, and we'll certainly, any commissioner that has questions can certainly reach out to you for that. And then if there are any thing additional, you can certainly come to our Health and Human Services Committee to discuss any other great project that you all are doing.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Okay, questions one more time?
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, this is a receive and file. Is there a motion to receive and file the report? Moved and supported. Got Jonathan Kinloch moving, and Commissioner Hayes got to his button first to support. Any further discussion on this report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you so much. Next item, please.
We're on reports from committees. Report A is from the Committee on Public Services. There are 8 items listed on pages 2 through 4 of the agenda.
Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move the agenda items 1 through 8 for approval.
Okay, and let me make my disclaimer to those persons on Zoom or in the audience. We do operate in committee, and we thoroughly vet each item at the committee level, and then they come to full board for final disposition. Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to ask if there's anyone here from Parks. I think the first item is the one with signage, an item for signage on the first one of this committee report.
Anyone here from Parks Department?
Online.
Eddie?
Good morning, Commissioner. Madam Chair, Alicia
Can you hear me?
Bradford. I am via Zoom. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
All right. Thank you,
Loud
Madam
and clear.
Chair. Thank you so much. Commissioner Anderson, item number 1 is relative to the signage that we will be looking at in our Holiday Nature Preserve as part of our overall improvement plan. But our first priority is to try to update the signage that we have within specific sections of Holiday Nature Preserve. So this is the amendment to Signs by Craney, who's been doing all of our branding signage throughout Wayne County Park System.
Okay, does that include the two that are in Westland that were, one had to be removed because it was dangerous, already gets determined to be dangerous on Joy Road on that part of Hines? I think that's Holiday Park on that end. And then also on Cowan Road, there's one that's still there that needs replacing too.
The chair, Commissioner Anderson, that is correct. That is to replace all of those signs within the Holiday Nature Preserve, including Cowan, Coppernet sections. Any of those that are deteriorated will be replaced under this amendment for Signs by Craney.
And Joy Road also?
Correct.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any additional questions on the Public Services Report? Additional questions? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
We're on Report B from the Committee on Health and Human Services. There are 4 items listed on pages 4 and 5 of the agenda.
Commissioner Killeen?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'd like to present those 4 items for approval.
Moved and supported.
Madam Chair,
And Commissioner Killeen, discussion.
if I may, thank you, Madam Chair. With your permission, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Baker McCormick for the purposes of discussing item 4.
Okay, Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Killeen. Item number 4 is a resolution in reference to anti-idling. And as Wayne County moves to a carbon neutral community, we wanted to bring this to light. Diesel trucks, buses, and other commercial motor vehicles that idle are not only a nuisance to residents, but also create a dangerous, serious health problem. Idling occurs when a vehicle engine is running while the vehicle is not in motion. Vehicle idling is usually concentrated in locations such as school grounds, parking lots, distribution centers, airports, train stations, loading docks, and other places where people gather. And idling a vehicle releases harmful chemicals, gases, particle pollution, soot into the air, contributing to the ozone regional haze and global climate change. According to the United States Department of Energy, idling for more than 10 seconds uses more fuel and produces more emissions that contributes to smog and climate change, and then restarting your vehicle. So you can just, if you turned your vehicle off, it would be better than just leaving it running. Pollutants release during idling has been linked to increased incidence of asthma, allergies, lung and heart disease, and cancer. The American Lung Association in 2023 state that the air quality report is AF. It gives Wayne County a F for the ozone, air pollution, and particles. And also in 2022, a report from the American Asthma and Allergy Foundation found that Detroit was named the worst city in the United States for asthma. So these cases of asthma in adults in Wayne County is 12% higher than the rest of the state. So we are concerned about the health and welfare of residents who are exposed to excessive motor vehicle exhaust, which rises, again, the risk of asthma, lung cancer, and diseases, other diseases. And so we are committed in Wayne County to reduce the carbon footprint within this county and all of the adverse effects of idling. So we encourage the adoption of this resolution and for the state to look at legislation aimed at reducing exposure to toxic pollutants. And so with that, I do want to acknowledge Rachel Garcia with Southwest Detroit Environmental Vision. She just wants to give a quick statement about anti-idling or idling and what it does to our community.
Said it all, Commissioner Baker McCormick. But I'll let Ms. Garcia have another minute to further state it. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. I was going to say you covered. Thank you so much. And so good morning, and commissioners, thank you so much for having me today. My name is Raquel Garcia. I am the Executive Director for Southwest Detroit Environmental Vision. We work with and partner with many organizations and tables across the state and locally, and many residents who are directly affected by bad air quality. And so we are extremely excited today that the county is entertaining this anti-idling resolution. In 2022, Detroit was the worst city. We were #1 for the worst air quality, and #3 in 2023 to live in if you had a breathing ailment, as reported by the Asthma and Allergy Foundation. And the EPA's EJ screen and also Michigan's EJ screen will show that we are in the 92nd percentile for particulate matter, diesel particulate matter in Wayne County. So it's below me is a map of Wayne County. It is burgundy. So and it bleeds into other counties, and it has to do with also like the port, big ships, trucks, trains. It's a really big problem, and it's not just a Wayne County issue. So we are excited that that this is happening today. Anti-idling is a simple behavioral change. It means shutting your engine off while standing. There's no vehicle modification or cost to individuals or companies. Even warming up a car is no longer necessary. It is not true that our cars need to warm up to spread the lubricants, let's say for even 1 minute. Newer cars even automatically shut off when they are standing at the light. Many of us, can hear them shutting off and turning on. Even so, we see regular people and employees sitting in cars with their engines on. Last year, I observed 6 commercial vehicles standing for more than a half hour together in front of Cesar Chavez High School Academy with many kids walking to school with neighbors, just in the neighborhood. It was not a hot day, so they didn't need to cool their vehicles. It wasn't a freezing day, so they weren't keeping themselves warm. It was a beautiful day with the windows rolled down. There's absolutely no reason to have this, to have the 6 vehicles releasing emissions. There is a real cost to idling. If you sit in a room full of carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide or any of those chemicals, you would not survive, as we see sometimes in the winter when people don't have ventilation, like in a garage and things like that. Emissions poisoning looks a lot like lead poisoning. If you're restless, irritable, foggy. And there are greenhouse gases that release into the atmosphere that also create the heat bubble that we're in Detroit. You will see that there's a spike in the heat where there's a lot of cement in vehicles. There are real financial costs. If a driver shuts off their engine only 8 minutes a day, a family or individual could save up to $500 a year in fuel costs. And a single diesel truck owner could save up to $25,000 per vehicle. Commercial fleet owners and operators will thank the Wayne County Commission when they start to realize these savings. So we are really excited. We want to offer, we have, like I said, lots of partners and lots of families who want to tell their stories. We would love to come to any meeting to present. We would love to send any information. We would like to be partners to the Wayne County Commission. We are available and ready. And I think we're hoping that this is enforced. I know that it's kind of we are asking that you talk to all of your vendors, that we get sort of commitments from your vendors, and where you can request this information, that we work on that, because you have a lot of reach and a lot of power, a lot of influence, and this could really gain a lot of momentum. So thank you very much for this resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for indulging.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. We have a motion on the floor. Any discussion on the Health and Human Services report, including the idling resolution presented by Commissioner Baker McCormick and Commissioner Khalil?
Okay, and can we open it up for co-sponsors?
Sure, let's take vote first, then we open it up for co-sponsors. All right, any discussion on the Health and Human Services report? Hearing none, please vote. Oh, sorry, is there a discussion? Commissioner Marecki?
Yes, I'd like to be a no on number 4, please.
Okay.
Duly noted.
All right, please vote on the report. Anderson?
Motion carries. Now Commissioner Marecki as a no on item number 4.
Okay, and then when you're ready, let us know for co-sponsors for the resolution, which is item number 4.
The board is now open for co-sponsors.
All right, board is now open for co-sponsors. Please vote if you'd like to co-sponsor this resolution.
Co-sponsors duly noted.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Next item, please.
We're moving to report C from the Committee on Audit. There's one item listed.
Commissioner Dobb?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move the report for approval.
Been moved by Commissioner Dobb, supported by Commissioner Khalil. Any discussion on the report from the Audit Committee? Any discussion on the audit report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next item?
We are on report D from the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security. There are 5 items listed on pages 5 and 6 of the agenda.
Commissioner Clark-Coleman.
Here, I'd like to move that we receive and file items 1, 2, and 3. Approve item number.
Let's do 1 through 4, and we'll separate 5. Okay, items 1 through 4, any discussion on those items from Public Safety Committee? 1 through 4, any discussion on those items? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, item number 5, this is the amendments to the Public Nuisance Ordinance. We had the first reading on February 1st. Today, we will have a public hearing. So is there a motion to open up a public hearing for this item?
One second.
Okay, well-
One second.
I'm sorry, did you just say? It says, it's the second reading we held today, a public hearing will be held today. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna open up for public hearing. Moved by Commissioner Baidoon, supported by Commissioner Clark-Coleman. This is a public hearing. All in favor, please vote to open up a public hearing. All right, so again, these were some additions that were made to the Public Nuisance Ordinance. It was suggested by the prosecutor's office to make it a little bit more, what were we going to say? Don't do it. It's for the racing and donuts and all of that illegal activity. Hopefully this will encourage folks not to do that as much. And 3 people on Zoom would like to speak to it. All right, first person on Zoom. 2 minutes.
Teresa Landrum.
Okay, Ms. Landon, this is to speak to the public nuisance racing on the streets ordinance. Go ahead, you have 2 minutes.
My apologies. My comments were for the anti-idling ordinance.
Okay, you can certainly make those during public comments, which will be at the end of the meeting.
Okay, well, and also I would like to speak on the racing. I live in a community that is borderline to 2 suburban cities of Melvindale and Dearborn. And in the city of Detroit, of Southwest Detroit 48217, we do experience a lot of people racing down Fort Street. And it has become a serious danger. A few years back, we had a young lady killed when one of the cars went out of control. So this is very important that we address the dangers of these cars doing that and spinning around. On Electric Street, which is a residential street, we still have black tire marks where young people have done the racing and spinning around. And it's been a hardship. So I do support any kind of ordinance or any kind of law that would prevent that. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have another hand? Again, this is to speak to the public nuisance of racing in our public streets.
Annie Bryant.
Ms. Bryant, go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you. I too was going to comment about the anti-idling, but our community is actually in 48209 in District Commission District 4 on the opposite end of Fort Street. We have had more accidents and property damage due to this interiorization of many of our residential streets by the racing. Additionally, that very crowd is coming loaded for bear with weaponry. So much so that one of the families of our Springdale Woodmere Block Club passed through the racing right near my home, was mistaken for some sort of rival race group or racer, and a mother and a father with 3 children in the car, one of whom was hit, were gunned down on July 4th, 2 years ago. And this must all end now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Brien. Thank you. We have one more hand.
Carolyn Callis.
Alice.
Hi, thank you for taking my comment. I have to also comment on racing in public streets. 2 years ago, and I'm sorry, this is a very emotional topic for me, but 2 years ago, I had a young man who I'm not sure if they were racing or chasing one another, but it was a high-speed vehicle interaction going through an intersection. And that young man hit 3 cars on my street, wound up going through my yard into my neighbor's fence, and died in my front yard. Well, he was on the phone with his sister. So at the moment of his death, we could hear his sister screaming and asking if he was okay. And I had to be the person to tell her that, no, I'm sorry, he is not okay. And we need to put an end to this, because this doesn't just affect the young people who are dying in these accidents. It affects their family. That's a sister who will grow up without a brother. That's a mother who has lost her son. It's an entire community who's mourning that situation. And it is an avoidable death. It is a preventable death, and it is our duty to prevent those things from happening. We have to protect our young people. And that includes taking a strong stance on racing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who gave their heartfelt testimony during this public hearing. We felt this was definitely necessary. I think the first vote was back 2020. This is some amendments again to make them more enforceable so that people will understand the dangers of this activity. And I think if they have bigger consequences, they would think a little bit more before they enact this deadly behavior. So thank you to all those who spoke in regards to this issue. Is that the last public comment? Okay, thank you so much. Have a motion to close the public hearing. Moved by Commissioner Clark Coleman, supported by Commissioner Baker McCormick to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye or vote. Okay, sorry. We'll vote. I think we have to vote. Sorry. This is to close the public hearing.
We got it. She's
Got it.
Mhm.
All right, I think it was unanimous to close the public hearing. Now we're going to have a motion to accept the amended version. There were some typos. So Commissioner Clark Coleman, if you can make a motion to
I make a
approve the
motion
amended.
to Approve the amended item.
It's been moved by Commissioner Clark Coleman, supported by Commissioner Baker McCormick to approve the amended ordinance on public nuisance when it comes to racing on public streets, including racing, donuts, and all that other illegal, dangerous behavior. Any discussion, Commissioner Killeen?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. This amendment to our ordinance adds definitions for assisting racing and claimant. Can I get a definition of what those two things are? And what legal jeopardy would accrue to assisting racing and claimant? What is that?
I don't know if Tony, want to address that?
Guerrero, Chief of Legislation, Grants, and Community Relations for the Prosecutor's Office. The first comment I have is our office, Prosecutor's Office, commends Commission Counsel for being so thorough and working closely with Assistant Prosecutor Charles Davis, who is our expert on forfeiture. Commissioner, to respond to your question, those areas are designed to discourage persons who will promote these types of events. And by way of a little background, what happens here is not just the drag racing between two people. These have become actual events that are conducted for profit. As we went through the ordinance, and I confess, I defer to Commission Counsel because she was much more involved than I. But as we go through it, the purpose is to allow for forfeiture of vehicles that are involved, for a due process hearing if there is a contest as to whether or not the vehicle was forfeited. Now, there is a provision in the ordinance where it deals with the intent. For instance, and I'll try to say this correctly and turn to Felicia. If you're merely a spectator who just happens to come on to the race or whatever the event may be called, certainly you're not going to be arrested. We don't believe that your vehicle should be forfeited. But we're talking about those cases where they actually come in and shut down a whole section of the freeway, and you may have hundreds of people there betting on these races or trying to promote them in order to get people there in order to make a profit. That's the reason for those particular definitions, Commissioner, and I hope I've answered your question.
Commissioner?
Claimant? Who's claimant? Claimant.
If the individual's vehicle was forfeited and they want to contest that, they would be a claimant filing an action to have their vehicle returned to them, alleging that it was taken wrongly.
And Attorney Davis is on the line for the prosecutor's office also. I don't know if he wants to chime in on that. Attorney Davis?
Yes, thank you. I apologize I'm not there in person. I have a issue with my vehicle this morning, but and I appreciate Tony's statements, and I thank him for stepping up to answer those questions, and he did a great job with them. The definitions are included in the language of the bill itself, and Mr. Guillermo was correct in what he said. More importantly, assisting racing also goes to those who are physically enabling those to drag race, such as blockading traffic for the drag racers. Often people will show up and park their cars in ways that police cannot stop the events from occurring quickly. And when the police arrive, they often flee at enormous rates of speed through residential areas to try to confuse the police. Those are the kind of activities, physical assistance of drag racing that is covered in the definitions in the bill, in the language of the ordinance amendments itself. So those terms are defined, and Tony Guillermo did correctly define claimant as anyone whose vehicle is seized and they wish to object to that forfeiture and then contest it if they so desire and take it to court. They are technically called a claimant, and it's very typical of forfeiture statutes. This language was not necessarily created out of thin air. It's been borrowed from other forfeiture statutes and merely tailored to this particular ordinance. The assisting drag racing language is akin to aiding and abetting, and the police were already seizing vehicles for this kind of activity under the theory of aiding and abetting the drag racing activity. The problem was there wasn't really any guidance for them. This language gives them express guidance, and it is limited in scope to protect the rights of individuals who may just be present or in the area. You have to actually prove in court that the individuals had intent to participate in some way and actively assist the drag racing activity. So I hope that has answered the question further, and I'd be happy to provide any other guidance in it.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Commissioner Khalil?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I read the ordinance, but I think anytime we're talking about seizing people's property, the government, I think it is important to have a public discussion about that and what the boundaries are. And when I hear the discussion, and I'm over on the east side, we have a little bit going on over there. These organized ones where it might be through social media or something like that, that seems to be the aim here. But you also just have a couple of kids, maybe with mom or dad's car, out there racing. Is this applicable to certain, like an organized race, or is it also applicable to a couple of kids that decide they're going to race down Kelly?
Through the chair, it's both, Commissioner.
Both. Okay, and then the vehicles get seized that night.
Correct.
So like a parent might have to show up to a lot to get their car back, and they would be the claimant?
Correct.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation for law enforcement, no doubt about it. Because it was just a couple of blocks from my house that 3 or 4 years ago, that kid that was fleeing on the four-wheeler being chased.
Through the chair, your commission counsel was very thorough going through each and every aspect with Assistant Prosecutor Davis. And by the way, through the chair, we did not forfeit his vehicle this morning, so he should have been able to be here.
Mr. Davis.
Okay, well, thank you for a better understanding of what we have here. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Garza?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and just want to say thank you to Mr. Guerrero as well and our commission council. I know we had a very robust discussion about this ordinance in committee, specifically surrounding the filming and live streaming of the event. So I just want to thank them for that, because we certainly, I know several commissioners brought up the not wanting to criminalize someone for filming an event like this, especially just stumbling upon an event and filming, not, making criminals out of folks that or, show up into the wrong place at the wrong time. So I just want to thank everyone who's been involved in this, and thank also the commissioner chairs the committee as well on this. It's a great ordinance, great revisions, and just want to thank everyone who's been a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. When will this be in effect? I mean, will it take effect today if we vote on it, or how?
Commission
I would
Council?
defer to Commission Council, but as it goes through the process.
Commission Council, but not today. Commission Council?
Through the chair, so this ordinance would be effective like most ordinances, 30 days. That gives an opportunity for the other administrative matters to happen or not happen. So 30 days and it will be effective.
And within that time span, is there going to be a public announcement or any information? I think Commissioner Killeen kind of alluded to the fact that maybe some residents won't be, I mean, not saying that they should be racing, but I'm just
Commissioner,
wondering if
this is
we,
our ordinance, so if we
Yeah.
want to do a press conference or a press release,
I
or
think-
that's within our purview to do, so I can have Jim write up something that we can share with our constituents.
that would be great. And even, I don't know if the prosecutor plan to, or sheriff plan to do any type of outreach to the community.
We always respect our place, and the commission controls. I have no doubt, if the commission wants Madam Prosecutor to be involved, she will make herself available, because this ordinance is extremely important.
It is.
This
and-
will save lives.
And I agree, because we need to do something about this activity of, but I do want to also notify the public so that it's clear, if you're racing, this is what's gonna happen. So, thank you.
We'll get that out hopefully by the end of the day today. Okay, thank you. I have a list, Commissioner Anderson, then Commissioner Kinlock, then Commissioner McClark-Holman, then Commissioner Palomero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is well overdue. I mean, even the revisions to make this even tighter, I think is important. I'd like to ask that someone, maybe the prosecutor, or as you mentioned a minute ago, that something is done to, it's one thing to pass the ordinance, but to get the word out. And I think using as many opportunities in the media to do that, I think would be better. But I'd also like to add that maybe if there's a press conference, we have law enforcement from all the communities represented that wish to be part of it, and with the announcement about it, and basically to let them know that no matter where they're at, if they engage in this type of activity, they're going to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Absolutely.
And the confiscation, maybe a good picture would be a car on a hook on a tow truck.
Right.
with
I
the
mean, I
police
think if
standing
people
by.
know their consequences.
Exactly.
They'll think twice. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kinlock?
Yes, Madam Chair. As I said in committee, I appreciate the clarity that is being included in these revisions, because I've gotten a lot of residents who have to deal with this drag racing. And I wanted to highlight the fact that these revisions were pretty much practices already put in place by the prosecutor, but they want to codify it and the due process portions. And so, so this ordinance has been around for 20 years, and just want to highlight the fact that the only thing this did was really clarify and codify the due process and explain to individuals how they can get their vehicles back if they're confiscated. So appreciate the revisions because now people can read it for themselves and not have to wonder, what the process is of getting their vehicles back. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Commissioner Kinlock said exactly what I was going to say, is that this is not a new ordinance. This is one that's been around. We're just tightening it up so that the prosecutor and their group will have a leg to stand on when they do what the original ordinance was meant to accomplish. I live on Oakland Boulevard, and on the side streets, they've got the speed humps, so they can't race along there. But on the through streets like Oakland Boulevard and Livernois and all those streets, they can't put the speed humps on those because they have to allow for fire down. So I hear them at 2:00 in the morning racing down Oakland Boulevard. I think that this is a very important ordinance, which is already in effect, but the pieces that the prosecutor and our general counsel work together to tighten up is essential. It's very important. So I would certainly urge you to support this ordinance.
Two more speakers, Vice Chair Joey Palomero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do support the ordinance, fully support it, understand what you're trying to get at. But I have to admit, I'm hopeful that law enforcement will use discretion on a couple teenagers who are feeling it at a traffic light and gun their engines and take off for 100 yards and get pulled over, and that the family car gets impounded and mom and dad can't drive to work in the morning. So I'm just optimistic that this is used in those situations that you described, where these are events rather than impromptu teenagers who make a little mistake. And I just would like that to be a part of the record.
Thank you.
Can I just follow up on that?
Sure, Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Sometimes those teenagers need a wake-up call, and parents need a wake-up call. So they are, maybe this will be a good wake-up call for them to have more control over allowing them to drive cars and do stupid things. But I understand what you're saying.
Well, yeah, and I understand what you're saying, and give them a fine and a speeding ticket, but don't take mom and dad's car because they made a mistake. That's what I'm just saying. Let's just use discretion in this. That's all. Thank you.
That was discussed at our meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Baydun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I fully support this ordinance and the revised one. In the city of Dearborn, we're suffering greatly from these reckless drivers driving at 60, 70 miles per hour on residential streets and using Ford Road as a drag racing track. I think it's long overdue and we need to put more teeth into it. And, some of these kids have to be taught lessons. I'm sorry to put it this way. And perhaps their parents who are financing these very expensive vehicles and buying these cars for their children, they should be held responsible too. What would happen if an 18-year-old or 17-year-old runs over a three-year-old girl, just playing on a residential street? Who's responsible for that? So I'm in full support of this, but to Commissioner Palomero's point, I'm sure there's going to be some discretion. Law enforcement will probably use some discretion and not take the vehicles for their parents so they don't have to go to work. So, but kudos to you, to the prosecutor, and I'm in full support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think it needs to really be stated again about education to the public. The public needs to be aware of these consequences so that they're not doing these actions. I'm on a corner house on Oakman Boulevard and they donut right in front of my house. And I pray every day that they don't run into my house because they're doing those donuts there. So that education piece to parents, to the young people, to everyone is going to be key. Again, if they know that there are consequences, hopefully they will think twice before they engage in this behavior. Sure.
Perhaps we send out newsletters.
For sure.
Most of us send newsletters out. So perhaps we can have Jim prepare an article that we can put in all of our newsletters.
Yep.
Alerting the people in our districts that this is just that we made amendments to this ordinance and this is what can happen.
Yes.
So and then have that article they're available for anyone who wants to send a newsletter out.
Yes.
And inform the people in their district.
Absolutely, absolutely. And on the website as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right, so item number 5, been moved by Commissioner Clark Coleman, supported by Commissioner Baker McCormick. I think we've exhausted discussion. All in favor, please vote.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much, Attorney Davis, for your work on this issue. Thank you so much.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, next item, please.
We are on report E from the Committee on Government Operations. There are 4 items listed on pages 6 and 7 of the agenda.
Okay, Commissioner Clemente, may I make a request, please? Is it okay if we take item 1 by itself?
Yes, Madam Chair, that will be just fine. So I would like to move the government ops agenda 2 through 4 for approval.
Okay, 2 through 4, government operations item. Any discussions on items 2, 3, and 4 under government operations? Moved by Commissioner Clemente, supported by Commissioner Killeen. Again, any discussion on that report? 2, 3, and 4, government operations. Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, Commissioner Clemente. Or Commissioner Me, whichever one.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Number 1 is a resolution introduced by you, and if you would like to go ahead and talk about it.
Thank you. Commissioner, number 1, thank you, Commissioner Clemente. Number 1 is a resolution brought to us by our Register of Deeds. If you could come to the podium, please. We have a serious problem, unfortunately. We had a handle on it, I think, at one point, but I think the thieves are rearing their ugly head again, and it's deed fraud, and people are having their houses stolen from deed fraud. And this is a resolution urging the Michigan legislature to adopt harsher laws at the state level to prevent this from happening. But I will turn over to our Register of Deeds, Bernard Youngblood, to further discuss this.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. This issue has become a pandemic. Unfortunately, when we started the task force with this very body back in 2005, there were a few issues of homes being stolen within the county. I appealed to the sheriff at that time, Warren Evans, and the prosecutor, Kim Worthy, to join me to start the first national deed fraud task force supporting the defense of victims and prosecuting that. During the oncoming 23 years, I had never the thought that it would grow to the proportion that it has today, whereby we've prosecuted over 400 people that have stolen homes from our constituents. We've returned those homes. Unfortunately, we have as many homes in the back waiting to be prosecuted right now over the years. It has grown substantially. During my participation in international and national organizations of fellows like myself, Register of Deeds, we are the leaders of that. There is no task force nationwide like you have provided to your constituents. So every time I go to an organizational meeting, I'm asked, where is Wayne County? What are they doing? What can we model after? And unfortunately, what I realized in my investigations of these frauds, there is no criminal crime to put a fraudulent document into the Register of Deeds database. Therefore, the victims, your and my constituents, it's placed upon them to pay the cost for an attorney to what is called quiet title. I'm sure your vice chair, the real estate expert, can attest to the problems relating to a cloud on title. Every fraudulent document that is placed within the Register of Database erodes the integrity of that database. And I'm sure Commissioner Baydoun could stand and talk to what would happen if the title companies no longer would rely upon the database that they use to render title insurance to close almost every transaction. Am I right, Commissioner?
Correct.
So with the erosion of this database, I realize that's the very problem, that it is not a crime to put a fraudulent document into our database. The resolution before you makes it a crime. It would give the Register of Deeds in the state of Michigan what is called standing. Standing means the Register of Deeds database, the integrity is eroding, and you can bring that crime to the prosecutor for prosecution. If successful, you would save roughly $4,000 to the victims of those crimes, the cost that they would require to quiet the title. This really should be a quick action, because during that quiet of that cloud on title, I should say, the individual, the victim, is plagued with not being able to transfer the property. Again, the commissioner, the expert in real estate, would attest to that. So this resolution before you would give the Register of Deeds standing. I've been working with Joe Tate, the Speaker of the House, for the last 6 months in drafting the correct verbiage for such a bill. I met with the Speaker today, and supposedly we are going to receive such a document. My team needs to verify the verbiage within that draft, and then we will send it back and proceed. My hope is that this body will support that type of action. When I go to my March meeting, the other Register of Deeds will again be able to model what Wayne County has done as a trailblazer in this effort nationally. It is not a problem just in Wayne County or in Michigan. It's a problem throughout the nation, and I appeal to your support.
Thank you, Mr. Register. of
Any
Deeds.
questions?
Are there any questions for the Register of Deeds before we have comments? Any questions, Commissioner Clark Coleman, to the Register of Deeds?
I just want to say that I am 100% in support of this, because people are being taken advantage of, and they have no idea. Many of them have no idea until they attempt to sell their house that their home's been stolen. Whatever you can do, you ought to do it, and I'm happy that Joe Tate is going to take this up very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have a list here. Commissioner, Vice Chair Sam Baydoun. Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Youngblood, thank you for bringing this resolution forward. I fully support it. It's long overdue. As Commissioner Clark Coleman mentioned, so many people are being taken advantage of, especially seniors. And sadly, most of the cases, they're being taken advantage of by their family members. And that's called elder abuse. Some of them who may have started to develop dementia, and they're just told what to do, and And all it takes is just a notary public, to notarize a deed and put it on record. I fully support this, and I think Wayne County should be the trailblazer in this area nationwide. And whatever I can do within my capacity, I'd be more than happy to also get the support of the Michigan Association of Realtors for this resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kinlock.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for leading this issue. I know you're here before us and showing passion, but I've sent 3 individuals, 3 seniors who contacted me since I've been a commissioner, and you dealt with them directly, told me to give them your cell number, so I know how you are passionate about trying to address this. And so definitely want to, lend whatever support. I'll ask Harry to introduce it elsewhere. But definitely want to lend our support in regards to this. The components, so do you have a draft yet, or are you waiting for the draft to come out the legislature?
We're waiting for the draft to be approved. The speaker is going to be sending that to me shortly. My team will review it, and then we'll return it, and then he'll pick the sponsor and go through the legislators.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Clemente?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Not a question, just a comment. Well, I do have a question too. Yes, this is very important. First year as commissioner, I've had a lot of people contact me, not sure what to do. So I'm glad we have a task force, glad we're talking about this resolution. If you could just keep us informed of when the language comes out and the bill number so that we can look for that, I'd appreciate it.
It would be my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Garza.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the Register of Deeds. I think, this issue is definitely not as attractive as an issue for folks as racing or drag racing, but this is a very, very important issue for public awareness. I think, just to have the legislature looking at this issue is a very big deal, and Wayne County leading on this is an even bigger one. So I think it's a great thing. Public awareness is essential for these issues, especially a lot of folks don't hear about this happening a lot of times, but it's happening every single day. So just want to thank the Register of Deeds and working with the legislature on this issue. And I'm sure Legislative Service Bureau is probably taking a look at it and bringing back language. So just wanted to thank you all on this, and just to see Wayne County leading is such a great thing on this issue. So thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Commissioner Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to commend our Register of Deeds for what he's doing. He's been at the forefront of a number of changes that have protected homeowners. And one of them is something that he might want to touch on a little bit, Fraud Guard, that one of the things that's available to homeowners, property owners, is to register on this Fraud Guard. And that will provide notification to them if someone has registered a document that pertains to their property. But the problem is that that's just providing if they don't see that, then they won't know, as Commissioner Coleman said, Clark Coleman, that they won't be aware of it until they try to sell the home. And in a case where there's an inheritance, they don't know either until they go to settle the estate. So Westland had a large number of cases in a subdivision probably 25 or 30 years ago that there were construction liens placed against homes, and it was used as a tool to embezzle money or to blackmail the property owners when they were in a pinch to get their property sold and closed. They couldn't do that until that was cleared up. And so I think it's really important to approve this resolution, and looking forward to seeing it when it gets through the Legislative Service Bureau and the legislature has it in front of them. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up and for your support, Commissioner. Thank you for talking about Fraud Guard, which is a system that we've developed with our software company, whereby individuals can go to our website at www.waynecountylandrecords.com and click on the badge, which has a tremendous amount of information on the success of this fraud team. And you can also sign up at no charge to your constituents to be notified anytime a document comes through our office that is filed. If you were aware of that document, if you signed your name, then you were aware of it, and there will be no action taken. You don't have to do anything. If you were not aware of it, you can call our fraud team. They'll teach you how to submit an online web information and begin the prosecution, or at least the filing of a claim. To Commissioner Baydoun's comment earlier, those with dementia might contact their family members to sign up for that particular property, and that's fine too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Haydos.
Thank you. Thank you on job well done. I 100% support this resolution. And you mentioned something, if somebody find themselves in the middle of a fraud situation, to go back on the computer and file and let the fraud division know. But as you know, some of the senior citizens, they don't have computer or they're not computer savvy. What's their other option?
Well, thank you, Commissioner. We do have other options. They can come directly to our office and we can help them set up an appointment with the fraud intake person, or we have a fraud vehicle driving around just like a marked law enforcement vehicle, which it is, and it has our phone number on it. We have a hotline whereby they may call in. So there's a variety of methods of which we serve our constituents to try to detour this or react to it.
Thank you. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Youngblood, for coming here and presenting this resolution. As you see, there's broad support for this. And again, this is urging the legislature to take action. So once they do have a bill number, maybe we'll have it back in the form of supporting the bill once it has a bill number attached to it. But we want to take this opportunity to let them know that the Wayne County Commission is very much in supportive of them taking action to do a bill so that we can assist this, because this is such a terrible thing to happen to our residents. So that fraud guard is something that we should be sharing with all of our constituents to make sure that they register for that as we continue to fight this on the prosecution side. Vice Chair Pro Tem?
To that point, Mr. Youngblood, can you share with all the commissioners a summary about the fraud guard program that we can share on social media or even our newsletter?
The summary is that anybody can sign up for the fraud guard. I believe the Madam Chair gave a small supply of brochures referring to the QR notice where people can sign up for it. But if they go to the website of WayneCountyLandRecords.com, there is a tremendous amount of information on the success of the team, as well as the instructions on how to sign up for this fraud guard, which again is no charge to your constituents, in spite of that product that you might have seen nationwide on television that will charge $20, $30 a month for the same service that you offer your constituents at no charge.
Can you send a PDF? Do you have that in PDF that you can shoot over to us? A
Pardon me?
PDF, you know, the actual digital copy. Can you just send that over to us?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Commissioner Clark Holman?
Other article for our PR department.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, well, I'm working on one for my newsletter, so when they get mine, I'll show it to everyone, so you can put it in yours.
Just make it available.
Yep, to everybody, absolutely.
I'll be awaiting your newsletter, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you so much, Mr. Register of Deeds. We appreciate you coming here, and this is a very important issue that is going to take all of us fighting to make sure that we put a stop to this. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second. So on item number 1, please vote. After this, I'll open it up for co-sponsors.
Motion carries.
Okay, and then we will open up for co-sponsors, so let us know when the board is ready for co-sponsors. That was a unanimous vote, Mr. Register of Deeds, so we're your partner in getting this through.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for coming and joining us today. Okay, the board is now, nope, not open yet. The board will be open momentarily for co-sponsors for this resolution.
No motions. This is just co-sponsors. Just give us
So you want to just,
1 second.
just take a voice vote?
The board is now open for co-sponsors.
You want to co-sponsor the resolution, please vote now. Commissioner Clemente?
Co-sponsors duly noted.
All right, thank you so much. Next item, please.
We are on page 7 of the agenda, upcoming meetings.
All right, to note, it's not on here, but I think it was sent out yesterday. We're going to try to have a committee of the whole on the 28th at 1 p.m. or was it 1:30?
It's 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock on the 28th. This will be to continue the discussion for the medical debt. We should have all of the documents and contracts at that time. So that would be on the 28th, which is Wednesday at 1 o'clock after the committee meetings. Next item. Oh, okay. Yeah, good, okay.
The Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security is now being moved to 11 o'clock rather than 11:30.
Okay, public safety will be at 11 o'clock, and that'll be the new time. 11 o'clock for public safety on Wednesday, the 28th. And Governor Ups?
Meeting for government ops on Wednesday, 28th will be moved to 12 p.m.
And that'll be your new time as well,
That will
correct?
be our new time. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, new time for government ops will be 12 noon on Wednesdays, and public safety will be 11 a.m. on Wednesdays. Those are the new times. All right, thank you. Next item.
We are on page 8 of the agenda, new business. There is one item listed, requesting commission approval of amendment number 9 to a professional services contract between the Charter County of Wayne and Gawker Point Communications.
There a motion for this item? Moved by Commissioner Kimlock, supported by, okay. Moved by Commissioner Clark Coleman, supported by Commissioner Clemente. I'm going by the board. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
All right, next item, please.
We're on testimonial resolutions and certificates of appreciation. There are 18 items listed on pages 8 through 10 of the agenda.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the testimonial resolutions and certificates of appreciation? Moved by Commissioner Marecki, supported by Commissioner Dobb. Any discussion on these items? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
We're on memoriams. There is one name listed.
Okay, Commissioner Baker McCormick, did you want to say anything?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you all know, my long time legislative aide, Dwayne Hines, passed away. And I just want to recognize him today. He was not only my legislative aide, he was a dear friend. And thank you all for being a part of the resolution or his memoriam. And I'm just sending my prayers to the family. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And again, we're so sorry for your loss, and we'll keep you and his family in our prayers. Are there additional memoriams at this time? Okay, hearing none, please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you so much. And as always, we want to keep those families of gunshot victims in our prayers across the county, the state, and the country. Special condolences to those Kansas City suffered at the parade of the Super Bowl champions. Next item.
Public comments.
Okay, do we have anyone on the line for public comments? If we do, you will have 2 minutes for public comments. Are there any hands?
Robert Palowski.
Hey, Robert Palowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon and good morning to all members of the board, staff, and members of the public. My name is Robert Palowski, and I'm here on behalf of Commissioner Baker McCormick's staff. Today, I'd like to express some comments on taking a moment to express remarks and the recognizing of life of one of our legislative aides and members of our office, Dwayne Hines. Dwayne Hines was not just a colleague, but a dear friend to many of us. His warmth, dedication, and positive energy he brought to our office every day was truly irreplaceable. His contributions to our team and the impact made on our projects and office work that we had was immense. He will be profoundly missed. My condolences and thoughts go out to his family during this difficult time. Let us all come together to remember the celebration and wonderful person that Dwayne was. Thank you, Dwayne, for all the dedicated years of service to our office here in Wayne County and the Wayne County Commission. We will truly miss you, and your contributions have been definitely recognizable throughout your years. I send my prayers to his family and all the staff here today. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Robert.
Teresa Landrum.
Thank you so much. Once again, Commissioners, my name is Teresa Landrum. I am from the community of Southwest Detroit 48217, the community that has been deemed the most polluted zip code in the state of Michigan. And I would like to put in my support for the anti-idling. Any protection that can be utilized to reduce emissions and improve the health of our community is appreciated. Detroit is now lead in asthma hospitalizations in the nation. Many of our schools, I was on the school siting committee many years ago, and we noted that more than 33 schools in Wayne County, in Detroit specifically, were located on major thoroughfares. And there is many studies out where learning disabilities in children can be directly related to diesel fuel emissions. We've had many trucks idle by our community center, by our only public school, and by many of the public schools in Greater Detroit. And there is a report that with being in the vicinity 100 to 800 feet, that it has a direct health impact on people's health. So any support for the anti-idling protections would be greatly appreciated. In fact, I-75 runs right through the center of the zip code of 48217. And as I mentioned, our school and our rec center are located right by I-75. There was a study done by the EPA that said roadside emissions can be directly related to triggers for asthma. We have also in Lower Wayne County been deemed the epicenter of the pediatric asthma burden. So these things should be taken into consideration when you vote on any ordinance or laws regarding anti-idling. We want to protect the most vulnerable. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak, and that health impacts be considered in any decisions that are made. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We have another speaker.
Nicole.
Nicole, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, good morning. My name is Nicole Alekin, and I am from Detroiters Working for Environmental Justice, and also a resident of Southwest Detroit. And I would like to speak in support of the anti-idling ordinance. As we have already heard from others, Detroit is one of the top cities with cases of asthma, and idling emissions and pollutants released from idling not just contributes to climate change, but also causes a wide range of serious adverse health effects, including respiratory and cardiovascular disease. It affects the health of our children, our parents, our grandparents, and all those around us. We are in support of this ordinance that would limit the idling by commercial motor vehicles. This restriction is important to reduce emissions and the exposure of toxic pollutants. It can improve the air quality and reduce the adverse health effects in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
No more hands.
Okay, anyone on the telephone? Anyone else in the chambers? Anyone in the chambers? Any emails?
Yes, I have two. Ready? The first is from Anthony Plesia. Please stand up against the Biden administration's efforts to cede U.S. sovereignty to the World Health Organization via amendments to the International Health Regulations and the Pandemic Preparedness Treaty. Please defund or restrict funding to any county departments that enforce World Health Organization. Please also stand against H.R. 3557 and H.R. 4141 in Congress, which seek to strip away state and local control in permitting cell tower placements and defund or restrict funding to county departments that enforce these bills should they become law. Remember, in Federalist 33, Alexander Hamilton wrote that lower level governments have the right to treat acts by the federal government that are not pursuant to the Constitution as acts of usurpation. I have a second. My name is Simone. I am a resident in Wayne County in Detroit and work with the Southwest Detroit Community Benefits Coalition. Communities in Wayne County are the engines of industry for Michigan, and we also host an international border crossing. With these come thousands of daily semi-trucks, air pollution, and health impacts. The asthma, heart disease, cancer, birth risk, dementia, and learning disorders, all associated with diesel pollution. Transportation emissions are the #1 health threat in our air worldwide, and especially in a county like Wayne County. Some emissions we can easily control, like choosing not to idle. In Detroit, we fought for and won a local anti-idling ordinance, but enforcement has been lacking. We all need idling to stop for all of our health. We need countywide coordinated education about the benefits of anti-idling, and we need enforcement. Today, we heard about the heart health, and this is something we can do about it. Thank you for your strong consideration to support an anti-idling resolution and policy for Wayne County. Simone Sabanak.
Okay. Any additional public comments? Additional public comments? Additional public comments. Okay, next item.
Reconsiderations.
There are none.
Remarks by members.
Any remarks by members? Yes, yeah, we have remarks. Remarks, yes, thank you. Commissioner Clemente, see?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to extend a thank you to my district, District 4. A lot of my constituents were on the line today talking about very important things that affect them. And I also want to thank Wayne County because we are doing things about air quality with our Just Air initiative. And we will continue to look at these things to help our constituents because we're all, this affects all of us. So I just want to thank them. And I want to thank Raquel for coming down today and presenting. It was our first time here. And thank you for the resolution, Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to thank the Commission Council for working on that anti-idling resolution and Commissioner Colleen for joining me on that. Also, I wanted to bring to light, and I briefly talked to the chair about it. I'm not sure if any of the commissioners had any breach of your offices, but my office was entered lawfully and my office was vandalized. So I just want to, I don't know if it happened to anybody else, but I want to request an official investigation into this. So, thank you.
Any additional remarks by members? I'll just say that, this past weekend, National Association of Counties had their annual legislative conference, and 5 of us were able to attend. It was a great conference. We all sit on different committees, from public safety to transportation to economic development. So when we go to these conferences, we bring that information back here and we share it amongst our committees and our members so that we don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel, but if we hear of ideas and policies that can benefit Wayne County, that we certainly will investigate and bring them forward. So it was a great conference, and I did have an opportunity to talk to Tom Perez, who was the Labor Secretary for President Obama. And he is now in the capacity of Senior Advisor to President Biden about some of the issues important to Wayne County, like in the suburban areas with the trains in Northfield, Plymouth, and how we need that grade separation. He was very interested in learning more about that, as well as our drains and flooding and things that affect all of us here in Wayne County. And I had an opportunity to meet briefly with the president and get a photo op with him. So that was awesome as well. And he spoke to the President Biden spoke to all of the 2,500 members who were there at the conference, and he did an excellent job in his remarks. So just know that if you have not attended any of the NACO events, this is an organization for all county officials, and is very beneficial with the information that we learn and bring back to our communities. That's all that I have. Again, one more time for remarks by members. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?